Good morning, everyone. So today is the first day of the winter. And as usual, we are here to do this morning chanting to show our appreciation and veneration to the Lord Buddha and his teachings and his community. And is also a part of the practice. So that we can help ourselves to understand ourselves much better, able to reflect ourselves, reflecting our physical body. How am I treating this physical body? How am I feeding it? Do you give a sufficient nutrition, sufficient rest? And mindfully using it. How much we're taking care of this our own physical body that we live in, which we have been using it so much, using every single day. How are we treating it? Are we using it just like one of the vehicles that do not care? Or only concern of how much it can serve us? Similarly, this is also a part of the practice that we can reflect our own moral and ethical values, moral practices. Are we conscious about the ethical practice that we should practice to bring the harmony in the community? That's why the 5 precepts the Buddha spoke many times, saying that practice of the 5 precepts is to bring the harmony in the community. Spreading love and kindness, providing a security of their assets, their wealth, their belongings, respecting their identity, their gender, and respecting as they are, and being a truthful. And here being a truthful means not speaking any harsh words, not speaking any divisive words. Not speaking non-inspirational speech that can create damage, resentment, that can create conflict, that can create animosity. Sometimes it can be bullying, sometimes it can be taking control or power over, superiority, which is also known as the bully. Harassing these things is also comes in this category. If we are not mindful of that, then rather than creating a harmony, it creates conflict, it creates problems, it breaks the friendship, it breaks the family ties, it breaks the country ties, and so on. That's why the 5 precepts is regarded as the precepts that ties the family, friends, and community together. That brings the harmony. And then the last one, which is the not taking substances, so that clouds the mind. The teachings of the Buddha is to awaken us, awaken from darkness to the light, awaken from misery to happiness. Taking a substance will cloud our mind. We will not be able to see things as it should be, but we will be seeing with a dark and a gloomy, and a miserable way. So we have to check and reflect again and again that how is my precepts or ethical living going on? Am I practicing ethically or not? As a monk, in order to fulfill or maintain these ethical practices, they do not shake hands, they do not hug, despite of expression of expression of affection, they do not do that, but physically express the great respect. Despite of being close, yet there is a distance. And that is called ethical practice. And if you're really looking for the spiritual growth or development, then you have to be very conscious of that individuals, your own practice. Are you in a position to do such things or not? Are you doing simply to impress or simply to get a favor? Or are you doing it simply with a kindness and compassion, with a good intention? Once we practice in this way, then we are creating harmony in the community. So practice of the sila, that's one, is to protect yourself. By protecting yourself, you are protecting others. others will safe, others will feel that you are a trustworthy person. And with the practice of a sila, again, your physical actions becomes more content, more mindful. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you sit becomes more mindful and more conscious. You become more aware. Action speaks louder. So people observe you from your ethical practice. Physical appearance doesn't mean that you are wearing a smart suit or handsome or beautiful. Physical appearance is you're mindfully walking and you're not affecting other people's around. There's a majestic walk. Once you see it, there is a great calmness appears on other people too. So that is the sila. But once you have observed, but just observing the names or observing the silas but not practicing doesn't help. So we have to reflect on that. That's called the sila bhavana. So reflecting on our ethical practice again and again. We have to remember bhavana is a development of the practice and also as a meditation. Reflecting on that. And then the third one is the reflecting on our own mental state, and that whether is it developed or not. Is there a more desire? Is there a more hate? Is there a more delusional ignorance? Particularly two main factors, the desire and resentment. Checking again and again. Every action that we do, are we doing to do it impress others? To gain the favor? Whenever things happen, dislike, like, those moments, what is your mental state? How are you dealing with it? Or are you harboring that that person has harmed me, that person will harm me, that person harmed my loved ones or my favorite ones or agreeable one? Or that person is harming someone that I love or will harm someone I love, or antagonist. Further on, and then that person is helping my enemy, planning to help my enemy. Sometimes we do not know. In those situations, what is your mental state? Are you still harboring the anger? Are you still harboring the hate? Are you still harboring the resentment? So reflecting on that again and again, our own mental state. Now if you can't maintain or reflect on our mental state in these ways, doesn't matter how many times we do this morning chanting, evening chanting, how many times we meditate day and in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. It doesn't work. It's not the quantity, it's a quality that we have to reflect on. After I have meditated this, how much have I changed? how much my mind becomes calm and how much mind becomes resistance to any negativities, and then any negativities that turning, converting it into the positive. It's a quality that matters. When I was a young novice monk, I was one very senior monk. Every year he goes to a 10 days retreat, or twice, if not thrice. But his anger never cooled down. His greed never cooled down. He was always angry when he didn't get what he wanted. He was always fighting or quarreling with other monks and even members of the temple. That is not the result of the meditation. It should be changing our mental state. Reflecting on that again and again, and able to be mindful of our mental state when it is changing, and then even able to share loving kindness to someone who hates us. So the Buddha said again and again, many times, when someone expresses anger at you, and if you express the anger back, even at one time, that means you haven't understood the Dhamma. But instead, if you have expressed loving kindness and compassion towards someone who expressed the anger, then you have understood the Dhamma. And this is called a Chitta Bhavana. So development of our mind. So shaping it again and again is a key. And further on, one of the most important part of the Buddha's teachings is the development of our understanding, the wisdom. And here wisdom doesn't mean that after we have studied all the Tripitaka and all the other scriptures, teachings, all the knowledge, and acquiring that, becoming a philosopher, is not the case. In the meantime, it is not that you do not study at all. And fantasizing yourself that this is what I know, this is what I am, this is the best, and this is what I think is the right, and so on. So called akara vitakena, mataka hetuka. So it comes in the Kalama Sutra that the Buddha mentioned. And do not think that because this is in accordance with my thinking, my perception, because it has a cause and effects and it makes sense. These are just the preliminary part for the development of the wisdom. Even in a meditation, when we are meditating, after went into certain calmness, you may gain a deeper mental state, deeper understanding. And with that, you will have, or sometimes majority actually, develop the perception that I know the better. I know better than others. this is the reality, this is the truth than anybody else. This is the real one. That is not the real one. And that is not the case. As a practitioner, the more you developed in the practice, the wisdom develops further on. And this wisdom is to understand that from the basic level to the highest level, once we are born, we are subject to death. Before death, there is a old age, sickness. In the meantime, we may not be able to stay with someone that we like. Sometimes we can't avoid someone living with someone we dislike. And the further on, the understanding that this mind is something, this body is another, and after life there is rebirth again and again as long as we have this great hatred and delusion. So we have to be reborn in different realms, in the samsara. And we have the capability to end the samsara by developing these previous three and then the last three, wisdom. And this wisdom, understanding that nothing remains the same, it's always changing. And this changing in nature, and we can't accept it and unable to comprehend it, brings the suffering. And understanding that things that is impermanent, we can't say that this is a permanent. So understanding of that, we will be able to let go of any attachment. Then that brings the real wisdom through realization and liberation. So that's why this morning chanting or evening chantings, whenever we come in to do it, it's also part of the reflection. Not just an expression of veneration and respect to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, not hoping to be reborn in the heavens or gain any other thing, but this is self-practice, so individual's reflection too. And so when we are chanting, each and every verses that we recite, it is teaching us to reflect on these four factors, to develop ourselves, so that we can find the right way, right path, and right liberation.